losing that much money. So take that, Mr. No Raise in 48 years.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblum, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk Media Network here on this Founders Federal Football Friday night. So good to be back with you after being away for a couple of days. I got the centimeter turned back down to 0 so I can start all over again here in the new year for we Jewish people, if you understand what I'm talking about. Hope you had a couple of good nights with Smitty and Chris and Pat, and we're looking forward to rolling into a busy football Friday night across the state of South Carolina. A little bit stormy out. I am not downtown in the studio with Pat because as I left my house in Northeast Columbia this afternoon, well, a little while ago, the normal travel time, the highways were just backed up. I couldn't get anywhere. So back at the home studio, Pat is downtown handling things at our studio, the Point Radio in downtown Columbia. And we have Chris Bergen with us way up in Buffalo. He's with Coastal Carolina. Chanticleers traveling up to take on Buffalo tomorrow at noon. Looking forward to that ball game. They're trying to go 3-0. I'll be in Athens tomorrow night for South Carolina and Georgia. South Carolina, Georgia tomorrow night. And Smitty will be in Clemson tomorrow afternoon for the Tigers and Georgia Tech. So we'll have it all covered for you on our website throughout the day, SportsTalkSC.com. And, of course, we'll have our live at the stadium recaps for you on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So we are looking forward to a monster weekend of football. The high school scoreboard show tonight at 10:05. David Shelton will join me. And, of course, one of our topics, and we'll talk about this some tonight if we can. We've got a very busy show. The announcement late last night by the Shrine Bowl that there will be no Shrine Bowl this year. However, the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, the North-South game, is a go. And if we have a football season in high school like we have now, continuing with playoffs and everything like that, there will be, at this point in time, according to Scott Early, there'll be a North-South game in Myrtle Beach in December. So something to keep in mind. And that means that game will have a chance to pick any of the players in South Carolina because usually the Shrine Bowl, not usually, every year the Shrine Bowl gets the first pick of the players, and then the North-South will pick. This time the North-South will have a chance to pull from the entire pool of senior players in South Carolina. More on that coming up. Let's welcome in Chris Bergen, who's up in Buffalo. He traveled up there today with Coastal Carolina. How was the trip? How was Niagara Falls?
It was a terrific trip, Phil, and if you have never been to Niagara Falls, I wish I could describe the awe of that place. We landed here about 3 o'clock or so this afternoon, came to the hotel and checked in, got our radio equipment off the truck, took it over to the football stadium and got set up for tomorrow's broadcast, and then we decided to go over to Niagara Falls, and it's just breathtaking. I think I heard we were trying to figure out how many gallons, I believe it was 75,000 gallons of water roll over the falls every second. Now, if you can begin to fathom how much water that is, that gives you a little bit of an idea. Took a couple of pictures, posted it up on our Twitter page at SportsTalkSC if you want to see the beauty that is Niagara Falls. And I got to look at our neighbors to the north. You can see Canada on the other side. So it's been a good trip so far. We're going to go grab some dinner here after a bit, but I'm glad to be able to hop on and talk some sports with you here tonight.
See any honeymooners?
I think I did. I saw several couples taking pictures. You know, they've got it set up where you can almost walk to the edge of the falls and take your pictures. Of course, if you've ever seen the movie Bruce Almighty with Jim Carrey, the Maid of the Mist, the
Mm-hmm.
boats. The boats were going, and they were full of people going over to get as close to the falls as absolutely possible without putting yourself into danger. So a lot of fun today, and there was a good crowd out there. The weather up here is beautiful. It's supposed to be about 75 degrees and sunny tomorrow afternoon for kickoff. So weather will not be a factor when the Chanticleers take on the Bulls for the first time in program history.
Well, I've actually done that little trip. I've actually done the Maid of the Mist. I've actually walked through the canyons there. They put you in these raincoats and you walk through. It's really cool. It's really cool. And they say it's more beautiful on the other side of the border. The Canadian side apparently is nicer than the American side. Go figure.
That is interesting. And actually, the hotel where we're staying, the Marriott Niagara Buffalo, they've got a COVID testing station out in front of the parking lot. I happened to glance at the price. If you'd like to get into Canada, and if you're planning to travel, maybe go up north and travel through the Northeast and maybe go into Canada, keep in mind that you might have to take a COVID test that costs you $225 just to be eligible to cross the border. That's how much they're charging, at least here 15 miles from the U.S.-Canadian border.
Wow. Okay. Well, good luck with that. And I'm glad you had a good trip. And you're going to be with us for a little while until you take off for dinner. What's your plan?
I plan on being here for at least the first half hour of the show before we get into the football filibuster. But I think we're going to go grab dinner about 6:30 or so.
All right. Actually, we're going to do the filibuster here early,
Uh-huh.
about 6:20. We're going to have, of course, Governor Hodges and Attorney General Wilson with us. We'll go over our picks at 6:35. USC basketball coach Frank Martin will join us. Of course, yesterday they announced this event in Rock Hill to combat racism, to bring another event to the public with a focus on combating racism in the country. And so we'll talk with him about that and about his basketball team. His basketball practice is cranking up across the country. Lee Sterling with his Sterling picks coming up at about 6:55 or so. David Shelton at 7:05 tonight. We'll take a look at the high school scene, another busy night of high school football across the state of South Carolina. And, of course, a visit from Jeff Owens in the fast lane as we go racing at Bristol tomorrow night in what should be a wild event. It's the cutoff race, the first cutoff race of the playoffs. What a great place to stage that at Bristol, where everything will be, throw it out the window. Anything will go in those last 30, 40 laps among the contenders trying to get into those transition spots. And George Bryan III will join us as well in his usual spot, birdies and bogeys around South Carolina. So we got a lot of great stuff for you tonight. We'll go ahead and start talking about our picks and what we see for this weekend. South Carolina and Georgia. South Carolina getting basically 32 points, 31 and a half points, depending on when you made your move on that. And I tell you, I like the Gamecocks taking the points. I don't think they're going to win, of course, but I like them getting the points and covering from that standpoint. I think it's going to be a relatively low-scoring game because I think the Gamecock defense is going to be able to hang in there against the Georgia offense. I'm looking at a Georgia win around the range of 24-13. I don't think the Gamecock offense will be able to mount a whole bunch against that great Georgia defense, maybe a touchdown and a couple of field goals. Maybe their special teams will create some points for them. That's the wild card here. That's because Pete Limbo's had that special teams unit playing so well. They're capable of doing something, Chris.
Phil, I think that special teams has to play well. Clearly, all three phases of the game for the Gamecocks has to play well tomorrow for them to have a shot. I agree with you. I don't think they win. I don't think, though, Georgia covers. That's the biggest margin, biggest odds maker that the Gamecocks have faced since 1999, if I'm not mistaken, when they were a 30-plus point underdog against Tennessee. I mean, these type margins and spreads just normally don't pop up in conference games. And I don't think Georgia beats them that badly because I think, as you pointed out, USC's defense is good enough to keep them in there. I just don't know that offense scores. That's going to be the interesting thing. They've got to be able to run the football and at least get some heat off of Luke Doty or, Zeb Nolan, whomever is in the quarterback. And those wide receivers are going to have to make some plays. But I just don't know how they do against that front seven of Georgia, but we'll see tomorrow. But I think the Gamecocks would be lucky to get to 10 points tomorrow against them. I see it somewhere in the neighborhood of like a 30-10 type ball game for Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia's had big spreads on the Gamecocks from Vegas the last few years. 22 points last year, and they covered. Of course, in 19, when the Gamecocks sprang that huge upset, They went into that game as 21-point underdogs. So, they're used to being big underdogs. You have to go back to 18 to find the last time the line was somewhat reasonable. The Gamecocks were ranked 24th at the time, second game of the season, and they were getting 10 points, and they got crushed 41-17. Georgia has owned this series in recent years after South Carolina had a great run of success under Steve Spurrier. So we'll see what Shane Beamer can do. Meantime, up Clemson way, I am going to say the Tigers are going to put it together. I think they're going to start to really cook on offense. Of course, their defense will be their defense. Georgia Tech's a great place to start. Not a very good Georgia Tech team again. I got Clemson 42-10 covering here.
I would agree. I see Clemson easily covering. I think the offense is tired of hearing, even from their own fans, much less people in our business and the national media saying, what's wrong with Clemson's offense? Why is DJ not playing as well as we anticipated? Where are the running backs? I think that all they've heard this past 2 weeks since the Georgia game is, well, you guys aren't real good on the offensive side of the ball. Thank goodness you've got a really good defense. And I think their offense has something to prove tomorrow. And I think Georgia Tech, unfortunately, will be that game plan and the team they take it out upon. And this may not be, 73-7 like last year in Atlanta, but it'll be pretty close to name the score for the Tigers.
All right, and real quick on Coastal, Buffalo, not a bad ball team, and they had a good showing against Nebraska. I don't know if that's good or not. I mean, obviously it's got to say something about Buffalo. Maybe it says more about how bad Nebraska is. We'll see what Nebraska's really got tomorrow when they play Oklahoma. But I think Coastal wins this thing pretty handily. Maybe I'm thinking too much here. 42-17. I may be leaning too heavily on the shots here. First road game. Buffalo has a history of having some good players and playing some good football in the MAC. What do you think?
I think you're right. I really do. And I think Buffalo's issue is going to be, first off, penalties. They are in a similar boat that the Gamecocks are. They're towards the bottom of FBS in penalties per ball game. They're averaging about 8. Plus, they've had so much turnover. Keep in mind, when Lance Leipold took the job at Kansas, he didn't do it until the spring. So they had to fast forward to get their new head coach in here. And about the time that Leipold decided he was leaving, they had, I believe, 10 players jump in the transfer portal to check out of Buffalo. So this is a team in total rebuild. They were a run-heavy offense, Phil, a season ago. They're trying to throw it a little bit more and have had some success with that. One interesting stat for them, they have yet to give up a point in the first quarter. And that's what Coastal is going to try and do tomorrow, I would think. It's come out here, first road game. They want an early start time, which normally favors the road team because you don't have to sit around the hotel all day. I would imagine they're going to try and throw the knockout punch as quickly as they can against the Bulls. So if Buffalo can hang in there in the first quarter or so against a very diverse offense from Coastal that normally doesn't beat itself, they've got a shot. But I think Coastal easily covers the 2-touchdown spread tomorrow.
All right, after the break, we're going to bring in a couple of more seasoned amateurs, more seasoned than maybe we are, just in terms of, well, I know one of them's really seasoned. That'd be the governor. I don't think the AG, Wilson, is that old. But anyway, a couple of old hands at picking games. As we have our football filibuster for this week, the governor coming off a 5-0 week last week. He was perfecto. That's coming up next.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at ExperienceColumbiaSC.com.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut, and for me, high school football Friday nights in the Palmetto State are electric, and I want to know how all the teams in the state are doing. For that, I turn to scfootballstats.com. I've used scfootballstats.com for years as a resource, so I have all the scores and schedules right at my fingertips. And so can you. Never hunt for scores, standings, or rankings again. scfootballstats.com delivers weekly updates right to your inbox. Everything from your favorite teams, including Skeeza, all in one place. Fan subscriptions are just $25 for a full season of access. Head over to scfootballstats.com right now for a free trial. That's scfootballstats.com.
All South Carolinians are now eligible for the COVID-19 vaccines. For help finding a vaccine location in your area, visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110. COVID-19 vaccines are free and don't require ID or insurance. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110 to find a vaccine location near you.
We've got Major Billy Downer with us here from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Hunting season is upon us. Major Downer, how do we stay safe?
Smitty, that's a great question. Mistaken for game is a leading cause of hunting accidents each year. So this year, DNR is encouraging everyone to wear hunter orange and use a flashlight when traveling to and from your hunting location in low light. Remember, be safe, be seen.
And remember, life's better outdoors. Visit dnr.sc.gov for more.
Welcome back into Sports Talk, everybody. It is that time, a little early on this Friday night. Normally about 10 minutes from now, we do the football filibuster, but because we're adjusting with Frank Martin coming on at 6:35, he's a big guy, so we got to make room for him. I'm sure our guests understand that. So we have moved them up a few minutes so we can get to them and then get to Coach Martin. It's a pleasure to have two of South Carolina's great statesmen join us once again for the football filibuster. Former Governor Jim Hodges coming off a 5-0 week, flexing those muscles and turning the page back to the history books where he used to be the dominant force in this program. He is now 7-3 after 2 weeks. And Attorney General Alan Wilson, who's had a very busy week, I think, as we all know, still managed a 3-2 week, 6-4, only a game back. Governor, congratulations. I wish we had an award for a perfect week, but we don't.
Well, I think I was lucky. A couple of those games were really close, but I'm pleased to get back in the winning column.
Well, we give you a pound on the back and an attaboy. How about that?
That's good enough.
There you go. A.G. Wilson, good to have you with us. I know you've had a lot on your mind over the last several days, but I know that you've been able to take a little bit of time to get ready for tonight's competition.
All I've been doing this week is poring over football statistics at the college level to prepare for tonight. That's all I've been focused on.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Let's see what you got. We've got 5 really good games to pick against the spread. So, Mr. Wilson, since you are trailing at this point, we'll let you lead off. We begin with an ACC tilt. Virginia at North Carolina. Tar Heels are an 8-point favorite at home. Virginia's off to an impressive start. Their quarterback, Armstrong, has looked really good, but North Carolina kind of put things together last week, and Sam Howell had a big game, so we'll see. Tar Heels laying 8, and you say?
Give me North Carolina.
North Carolina laying the points. Governor?
I'm going to take the Hoos. I think this game will be closer than people think, and Virginia has been impressive in terms of the last couple of years. They get better each year. So North Carolina won't win, but I think it'll be a field goal.
By a field goal. Okay, Governor. Let's go to the SEC. Big game here. Alabama going to Florida. Florida getting 14.5 in the Swamp. And are they good enough to do something with Alabama? Their defense is pretty good. They've got a couple of quarterbacks. Been reading a lot about this Anthony Richardson kid who's backing up Emory Jones. Some people think he is the best quarterback, and he's a guy that can lead Florida to greatness. We shall see. But they're getting 14.5 at home. Is that enough?
I'm going to give General Wilson an opening here. I think this game's going to be closer than people think, and I'm going to take Florida. I think Bama's going to win it, but I believe it'll be 10 points or less.
Okay. Alan?
You know what? I'm going to go. I respect the Governor, but I'm going to go with Roll Tide. I think they're going to roll this week. I think they're a juggernaut. Give me Alabama.
They are a juggernaut. No question about it. Okay. Let's go with the locals now, guys. Coastal Carolina on the road for the first time, and they are way up on the road, going all the way to Buffalo, New York. Lucky for them, they're playing in September and not November. Plus 14, Buffalo at home. These are the Bulls, not the Bills. Don't get them confused. Jim Kelly is not walking through that door. So Coastal is a 14-point favorite. A.G. Wilson.
Coastal. I'll take Coastal.
Coastal all the way. Okay. Governor, what do you say?
Well, I'm not going to pick the Chanticleers, as I said last week. I think 14 points on the road is too much. I think they're giving Coastal a little bit too much credit. I think they'll win, but I believe Buffalo will keep it under 14. So I'll take Buffalo.
All right, you got Buffalo. Very good. Real quick, before we continue, Chris is up in Buffalo. What'd you say the weather is going to be like for this game tomorrow?
Sunny and 75 tomorrow. So, yeah, you're right. Because I was joking with some of our radio colleagues about it'd be fun to come back up here in December or January because I've heard if it gets cold enough up here, Niagara Falls actually freezes. That would be a sight to behold. But and one of our buddies who actually grew up in New Jersey said you don't want to be up here in the wintertime. So
No.
I'll take his word for it.
Be careful what you ask for. All right, Governor, Georgia Tech, the Rambling Wreck at Clemson. Let's see now. Tigers won last year by 66 in Atlanta. I don't think they'll do that this time around. They are favored by 28. What do you think?
They're going to cover. Georgia Tech, who did they lose? They lost like Akron in the first game.
Northern Illinois.
About the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Tigers.
All right, you got them. You want the Tigers laying the 28. Alan, what do you think? Clemson at home favored 28.
God, I originally picked. I'm going to go ahead and go with Georgia Tech right now. I might tweak that one at the back end, but I think Georgia Tech. I think Clemson's going to win. I think they're going to win by a few touchdowns, but I think this one's within 28.
Within the margin of error. Okay, and we go to South Carolina and Georgia. Spread when I made the sheet up last night, 31.5. The Gamecocks getting 31.5. Allen, between the hedges in Athens, Will Muschamp standing on the opposite sideline looking at the Gamecocks and saying, what did I leave behind here? 31.5-point underdogs. What do you think?
I can't. What was the score last year? I want to say, did we win? I mean, we lost.
Yeah.
Was 29 to something. It was year before last that we won between the hedges.
That's right. Last year it was 45-16 in Columbia, Georgia. Gamecocks won
it was a 29
19.
point.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and listen. I fully expect Carolina to lose as much as I want them to win, but I think they'll keep it within 30. So I'm going to go with Carolina for the points.
Taking the points, Governor.
I'm with the general on this. I just think our defense is pretty good. I'm not a believer in Daniels, the quarterback for Georgia, and I think we'll keep it under 30. So I think the Gamecocks are, with 2, maybe 3 touchdown. I see it as a 2 or 3 touchdown loss, but I'll take the Gamecocks and the points.
Mm-hmm. Think you'll see Doty in this game?
I do. Yeah, I think Doty will play unless it's really a blowout, and I could see him not playing Doty for fear that he might get injured. But I think we'll see him.
All right, time for some amendments, guys. Alan, anything you want to change up?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna change one. I think I'm gonna change the Coastal. The governor made a compelling argument, so I'm gonna swap back to Buffalo covering.
So you want Buffalo taking the 14 points, okay? That's it for you. How about you, Governor? Anything you want to switch up?
I think I'll stick with the picks. I mean, there are a couple of the Florida games one that I may have made a bad choice on, but I still think I'll stick with them.
Well, sometimes you have to kind of roll the dice. If you're going to be a champion, you got to play like a champion, Governor.
That's exactly right. The old Ric Flair line.
No guts, no glory. No guts, no glory. Something like that. All right, guys, we thank you, Governor. Have a great weekend. A.G. Wilson, you have a great weekend, and good luck in the weeks ahead. Talk to both of you next week.
Good luck. Sir. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Always a pleasure. Football Filibuster here on Sports Talk. Jim Hodges, Alan Wilson. And, it is, it's odd talking to Alan, Chris, because he's got such an important item on his plate to deal with right now. So appreciate him taking some time out to have a little bit of fun. But his mind is really on that big case he's dealing with.
And understandably, I mean, it's a case that has not only caught the attention of our states, but also is a national story as well. So you're exactly right. I'm sure he's spent a lot of sleepless nights dealing with this here the past couple of weeks.
Well, I mean, we deal in fun and games. He deals in life and death. So it's a big difference. And I'm sure this gives him a little bit of an outlet. Thanks to the guys for being with us. Coming up after the break, we'll talk some football. With Frank Martin, maybe he'll talk a little football with us. That's coming up.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Companies. If you thought you missed your chance to refinance and save, think again. Mortgage rates have recently dropped below 3%, and Rocket Mortgage can help you save big. You could lower your monthly payment and prepare yourself for a better financial future. But you've got to act now. Call us today at 833-8-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Conditions apply. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters. France said late Friday it was immediately recalling its ambassadors to the United States and Australia after Australia scrapped a big French conventional submarine purchase in favor of nuclear subs built with U.S. technology. It was the first time ever France has recalled its ambassador to the United States, according to the French Foreign Ministry. Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian said in a written statement that the French decision on request from President Emmanuel Macron is justified by the exceptional seriousness of the announcements made by Australia and the United States. China also objected strongly to the nuclear deal. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 166 points, the Nasdaq dropped 137, the S&P 500 lower by 40. More details at srnnews.com.
Listen, you ever notice there's a lot of foundation repair companies in the Midlands? Well, I asked my guys at TerraTech about this. Seems like 80% of the homes end up with foundation issues in the Midlands. It's just the soil around here. So how do you pick the right foundation company if you think you're having an issue? I always start by thinking local. I mean, think local always. Your home is your biggest financial investment. You want someone who's been here a while and isn't going anywhere for a while, and that's TerraTech. They're family-owned, they're AAA approved by the Better Business Bureau, and they are 100% local. They use the highest quality products, and they stand behind their work. And I'm not into scare tactics, no way. But goodness, this is your home. I mean, it's your castle. Walk around it, take a look. If you see cracks in the foundation, just call TerraTech. They'll come out for free. No cost, no obligation. They'll tell you honestly if you have a problem or not. You can trust TerraTech to repair your home. You know I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. Online, it's TerraTechInc.com or call them 791-8888. That's 791-8888 or online at TerraTechInc.com.
Hey, I'm State Representative Chris Wooten.
And I'm State Representative Micah Cassidy.
Join us on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. on The Rep.
We'll talk about everything that's happening at the State House and give you an insider's perspective.
All from the General Assembly. So join us at 9 a.m. on The Point, 100.7 FM or 1470 a.m.
There's never an HVAC expert around when you need one. Enter the field in less than 6 months with the Midlands Tech entry-level HVAC Tech program. Evening classes just twice a week for a seriously in-demand field in famously hot Columbia. Practical, hands-on labs with instructors who work in the industry. Focus on diagnosing and troubleshooting HVAC issues. Scholarships are available. Learn more at midlandstech.edu or call 732-0432. Tell them you heard it on The Point and get 10% off the cost of the program.
Fran Halloran here. What am I looking for when I make a recommendation to you? I'm looking for integrity, ethics, intentionality. When it comes to your mortgage needs, Greg McCoy from Simplified Mortgage Solutions needs to be your only call. There are plenty of national mortgage companies with fancy names and fancy schemes out there. Don't be fooled. Simplified Mortgage Solutions will meet or beat any national lender's proposal. Greg is local, and I love local. Born and raised in the Midlands of South Carolina, Greg will treat you as if you are his only client as you go through the mortgage process. Simplified Mortgage Solutions specializes in conventional, VA, USDA, and FHA mortgages. They can do it all. I trust them, and so can you. I've worked with Greg for a while now, and everyone I've referred to him has thanked me after the fact. Online at simplifiedmortgagesc.com or just call Simplified Mortgage Solutions at 803-722-6044. That's 803-722-6044 and tell them the Money Coach sent you.
Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdheck.gov/vaxfax.
Back we are, everybody, here on Sports Talk on this Founders Federal Football Friday night. We are waiting to connect with USC basketball coach Frank Martin. In the meantime, if you want to join in on the program, our phone number, 888-898-2525. That is the Sports Talk South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. And did you know that since 2002, more than $160 million in lottery proceeds have been used to fund SC Hope scholarships for the state's college-bound students? You can learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at sceducationlottery.com/education. Wins, and of course, playing for fun is a win for education. Appreciate having the governor and the AG on with us a little while ago to get their picks for this week. And you heard us talk a little bit about the games involving South Carolina, Clemson, and Coastal. Chris and I going over that and giving you our picks. As far as the rest of our esteemed panel, and Pat, I'll let you jump in here and give your picks because I haven't loaded them onto the boards yet. But beginning with Virginia and North Carolina. Oh, and by the way, just to update the standings, Dr. Rick having a great start, 4-1 last week. He is 8-2. Fran Halloran, another 4-1 week for him. The Money Coach, he is 8-2, so they are leading the way. At 7-3, the grandfather, Teddy Hefner. That's it. He's not a grandfather. I mean, his kids haven't had kids. He's not a grandfather. I'm just referring to his age. The grandfather, Teddy Hefner. He had a 3-2 week. He is 7-3 overall, so he sits alone behind the leaders. At 6-4. We have Pete Gandy up at Channel 7 in Spartanburg. The Big Kahuna in Charleston, 4-1 last week. Pete was 4-1. They're 6-4. Pat was 4-1. Oh my gosh, he is 6-4. Smitty had a 3-2 week. He is 6-4, and Chris Bergen had a 4-1 week. Must have been some easy pickings last week. He's 6-4, and I went 4-1. So I'm 5-5 overall. And Smothers is 5-5. The bad boy was 3-2, and Kev Cohen, the only one to have a losing week last week, 2-3, just like his Lions, a losing week. So he drops to 5-5. And so, as far as this week's game by your illustrious, very knowledgeable, very studious panel, we just don't guess at this. We look at the trends. We look at the stats. We look at everything that's before us. Virginia, North Carolina, and it looks like mostly folks are taking Virginia and those 8 points. I'm taking North Carolina laying the points. Chris is taking Virginia, and Smitty is taking Virginia. Pat, who are you taking there?
I'm taking Virginia. I'm not sure I trust in this Mac Brown team as of right now. The defense has actually outperformed the offense thus far this season. Meanwhile, UVA has actually looked very good. They had a dominating performance last week against Brett Bielema's Illinois squad. Yes, I realize it's Illinois, but quite frankly, I came away from that game impressed with them far more than I have been thus far with UNC. Also, it's worth pointing out along the entire Southeast, bad weather tomorrow. Thunderstorms all across the region. So I'm just not sure we're going to see that much offense tomorrow in general.
Yeah. I wonder how good Armstrong will be against North Carolina, how good North Carolina's defense will be against him. If North Carolina if Howell is big like he was last week and they have that running game, they'll be tough at home. I like North Carolina laying the 8. Teddy's taking the Tar Heels. Pete's taking the Tar Heels. Everybody else is taking Virginia. Alabama at Florida, and most of us are going with Alabama. I think that Alabama, this could be a 7 or 10 point game in the fourth quarter, but I see Alabama knocking in a late touchdown or two to cover this thing like they do. They wear you down. And then they score a couple of times late to get that cover. I'm taking Bama. So is Chris. So is Dr. Rick's taking Bama. Let's see. The only ones who are taking Florida, Fran and Smitty and Pat, you're doing what?
I'm with you. Also taking Alabama, expecting them to wear down Florida as the game progresses and thinking they will cover late in the fourth quarter. I will tell you, though, Corn, that half point really made this a difficult decision. It'd be very different if it was a 13.5 point spread, but with it being 14.5, that may bring this into question a little bit. But I think that the Anthony Richardson injury, he's been dealing with a hamstring all week long for Dan Mullen's Florida squad. He's electric. I think he'll eventually overtake the starting quarterback position from Emory Jones. But with him not being at 100% this week, if he can't get out of the pocket and use those legs against Alabama, he's in trouble. So I think Alabama covers.
All right, let's go to Coastal Buffalo. I've already given my pick, 14-point spread. I got Coastal winning this thing maybe bigger than it really will be. This might turn out to be a tougher game. Maybe I'm underestimating Buffalo. Only people taking the Bulls and the points are Smitty and Pete Yanity. And you say, Pat?
I see Coastal as well. I just think they're going to also wear them down. Buffalo's going to keep it close for a half. Coastal pulls away in the second half and makes it a bit of a rout.
All right, Clemson, Georgia Tech, and everybody's taking the Tigers. I think they get it together. You know, it's been an interesting week for Clemson. They're kind of eating their own up there now. I mean, people are just so impatient. And, you know, there's been people questioning the offensive line. Of course, they've been questioning Uyangalele. They've been questioning Tony Elliott and the play calling. And nobody's questioning the defense, but it's really the offense that's taking the brunt of this thing. They don't have a slot receiver like they've had in the past, that little short, speedy guy who can get open in the zone and take and sneak out there and get open. All that kind of hooey being spewed out there. And then you had one of the Clemson media boys up there falsely reporting something with Uyangalele not going to play. He had to go back and recant that. And then I know you follow this stuff, Pat, and apparently there's been stuff up there going on about the students and some kind of hand gesture as part of the alma mater that people are opposed to or something. And then something else about some profane language being worked into the fight song lyrics. You know about all that stuff. It's been a little distracting up there for the Tigers. Not enough for them not to beat the dog out of Georgia Tech and cover, but still, it's been an interesting week.
Georgia Tech lost at home to Northern Illinois. I really don't think there's much more to be said than that. I just don't expect much out of this Yellow Jacket team. Now they're also playing a backup quarterback. Although Yates has come out and brought some energy on the offensive side of the ball, he's looked very good for them. I just don't see Georgia Tech putting up much points against that stout Clemson front or just the defense in general. In regard to what you're saying with the student section, I wasn't aware of. I think you're referring to. It looks more like a bear paw to me than a tiger paw, but it looks like the students are now doing kind of a little claw with their hands during the fight song or something. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't. That's all just noise. That's outside noise between the field or on the field itself, between the lines. I just don't think this is going to be remotely close. The only thing that gives Georgia Tech a chance of covering this game is if it's raining nonstop the entire game and they're able to slow the game down and keep the Tigers off the field.
Yeah, I don't think it matters which quarterback they have at Georgia Tech. Sims played last year and he did nothing against them, and who knows who they're going to run out there at quarterback. This is their third go around under this new coach, and it hasn't been good for them against Clemson or very many teams thus far. So I look for Clemson to roll. South Carolina, Georgia, again, up in Athens, between the hedges. And I just think 31.5 is, I mean, I know Georgia is capable of covering that on a lot of teams, but this is an SEC team. South Carolina's defense is real. I think their defense is real. And, Georgia, they can run. If South Carolina just doesn't get trampled upon, I think they can hang in with the passing game. They got to watch the tight end. Whoever has the assignment on tight end, that freshman tight end is really good. And with Oscar Delp sitting in the stands, Georgia's going to highlight the tight end. But then again, South Carolina is trying to get him. They should highlight the tight end as well. This could be a battle of which one throws it the most to the tight end, so they can say, Oscar, look, we threw it to the tight end more than they did. Covering that tight end is going to be very important for South Carolina. Trying to keep the running game within a reasonable amount of yards. Georgia's going to get theirs on the ground. South Carolina's got to get theirs on the ground and shorten the game and get to the second half within a touchdown or two. And they can maybe walk out of there respectively with a respectable loss. I am by no means thinking they're going to go into Athens and win. I just don't think they can muster enough offense. I think their defense, if they don't put too much on the defense, they can't put the whole game on the defense. They'll eventually cave if you do that, and it could get away from them. Maybe the special teams will come through with a kickoff return. They've showed that they can do that. They can block a punt. A special teams play here or there could help South Carolina keep this thing in a respectable manner. So I am taking the Gamecocks and the points, as are practically everybody else. Only Teddy Hefner thanks the Gamecocks. He's taking Georgia in the points. He is the only one thus far as we wait for Pat's announcement.
I appreciate that. Putting a little respect on my name that I don't know quite sure I deserve, but whatever. I'll take it. So I'm with you. I'm also taking the Gamecocks. Three main things that I would think Coach Shane Beamer will be emphasizing here: defense, field position, and shortening the amount of drives Georgia has. And again, there will be rain and thunderstorms throughout the day. So that just adds to the fact that both teams are going to be emphasizing the rushing attack. I don't see a whole lot going on in the air, although JT Daniels will certainly be trying to air it out, assuming he gets the start for Georgia if he's healthy tomorrow. But let's remember, the way the Gamecocks pulled off that upset a couple of years ago was they had one of the best punters in the country. They were able to pin the Bulldogs inside their own 10 or 15-yard line basically throughout the game. Georgia was playing with a long field the entire game. South Carolina was able to get some defensive scores, and both games so far this season, they've been able to get defensive scores. I'm with you. I do not think the Gamecocks pull off the upset like they did 2 seasons ago, but I just don't see the Bulldogs being able to win that by that much. Beamer is going to just hammer the ball all day up the middle. They're going to try to limit the possessions by the Bulldogs and keep it respectable.
So you want the Gamecocks and the points?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I do think we'll see some things from the Gamecock offense that we haven't seen. A little more creativity, a little more maybe misdirection, maybe some jet sweeps with DeCarrion Joyner. Marcus Satterfield said this week that by no means has he displayed everything in their offensive playbook yet. Well, now's the time to empty the playbook. Now's the time to show what you've got. And, of course, the big question is who's going to play quarterback. Will it be Nolan, who is 2-0? Will it be Doty if he's healthy? Should you stick with Nolan even if Doty is healthy until Nolan can't do it? He is 2-0. He did win on the road last week against East Carolina. He did help direct a 4-minute, 54-second drive for the winning field goal. He's pressure tested here a little bit. And Doty hasn't played. I don't know. Do you run Doty out there not having had any as a starter? I'm talking about. Maybe you bring him in if he's healthy. If he's healthy, maybe you have Nolan start, but then you can bring Doty in as a change of pace guy, especially if the offensive line's not able to protect Nolan, who is, of course, a statue back there. He is not going to run away from that Georgia defensive front, which already Georgia has 10 sacks in 2 games. Of course, 7 came against Clemson and Uyangalele. Question here on our stream from Nick, who says, why doesn't I'm assuming he's asking about South Carolina. He doesn't specify. Why do we not throw screens to the running backs, especially when blitzed every play? Well, maybe that's something they're going to do tomorrow. That's a good question, and that's a good tactical move against the blitz. If you catch the blitz right with the screen, you're talking big play there. So maybe that's something we'll see.
I bet Clemson wishes they had done that their opening game against Georgia. So maybe the Gamecocks will learn from what Clemson did not do and do that more tomorrow. That is a good question.
Yeah, good question. Thanks for it very much. David writes in, Tigers are eating their own, and said it looks more like Fred G. Sanford arthritis in his hand. Talking about, I mean, I don't know what they're talking about. This is beyond my level of interest, and the fact that the Tiger fans are making so much. Show me what it looks. I'm looking at you, Pat. And people can see on the screen. So, okay. So people are doing, and what should it be?
I have no idea, but correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't a tiger only have four? Doesn't their paw only have four, not toes, I guess?
Fingers,
toes.
I've never counted them.
A bear, I think, has 5. I think that looks almost more like a bear paw than a tiger paw. But I don't know. Whatever, they're gonna do whatever they want, whatever makes them happy. So be it. It just seems like an unnecessary distraction.
All right,
let's just stick to football.
Really. Let's hit the break, and then we'll get ready for Lee Sterling to join us with his Sterling picks. We'll give you some professional help. Being pointed out here by one of our listeners that Lee was 0-3 last week. Okay, it happens. Aaron Judge doesn't hit a home run every time he comes to the plate, though I'd like for him to. We'll see what Lee's got for us this week as we continue to set the stage for the big weekend of college football. Got some college football tonight, as a matter of fact. And then David Shelton, 7:05. We'll talk high school football. Be right back.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
I learned that people are just looking for somebody to listen to them. You can't just start cutting somebody's hair and you're going to be quiet the whole time because you're not going to be in business long.
The South Carolina Education Lottery has provided over $800 million to help students attend technical colleges across our state, investing in a new generation of entrepreneurs just like James. Your passion is our purpose.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
I always enjoy the South Carolina-Georgia game and the build-up and the memories in South Carolina-Georgia. Georgia has, of course, dominated the series over the life of the series, but maybe over the last 20 years or so, things have kind of leveled out between the two. I always like to take you back to that moment in 1993. The Gamecocks were newbies in the SEC, just their second year. Sparky Woods was the coach. Steve Tannehill was the quarterback. Brandon Bennett was the running back. And the Gamecocks, on the final plays of the game, they were at the Georgia 1 yard line. And if you've forgotten, here's what it sounded like as the great Larry Munson, the Georgia play-by-play legend, made the call.
They're in that inverted wishbone, like a power eye thing. And Tannehill gives it to him. He dives, and we hit him and stop him short of the goal line. We tackle him on about the 1 or 2 foot line as Bennett leaps across the clock. 18, 17, 16. Lay down, you guys. 14, 13, 12. Lay down, 11, 10. South Carolina's going to try to get a playoff. Tannehill up to the line. Tannehill going to give it to Bennett, and we hit him. He scored on the last play of the game. Bennett, a great athlete. athlete leaped over the pile and broke our hearts with 2 seconds to go. We couldn't keep him on the ground long enough.
I love that call. I don't think I've ever seen the Gamecocks happier in a win as a group on the road than that. There might have been others, but that was as happy as they've. I saw grown men jumping in each other's arms, that kind of stuff. That kind of happy. So as you may or may not have heard this earlier in the week, just to continue to build it up, but we talked with Shane Beamer. We talked with Shane Beamer about his first trip to Athens as a head coach, and asked him the message that he has for the Bulldog fans.
You tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. And as a follow-up, I had a chance to catch up with Beamer earlier today to get a further thought about his game plan for tomorrow night.
At my signal, unleash hell.
Yeah, pretty simple. He's got one thing on his mind, and that is creating hell in Athens between the hedges. Okay, I think we can put those to rest for a little while. What do you think, Pat?
Always entertaining, but yeah, you never want to overdo it. Got to keep them fresh.
Well, I was watching Oh, come on, Corn. Russell Crowe.
Tombstone. It was actually on a couple of nights ago.
No, not Tombstone.
Oh, well, that's what that was from. Sorry, I thought that's what you were referring to.
That was the first one. The first one was from Tombstone. Yeah, the Gladiator. I was watching Gladiator the other night, and I heard that line in the opening scene, when they had the big confrontation there to open the movie. And I said, I got to use that one somehow. But we butchered. Only reason I replayed the other one was because, remember, we butchered it earlier in the week. So I wanted to get it right. You did a great job. Very smooth, very well done, very well produced and orchestrated. And so that's why I brought it back up. And you know what? We'll use it again. I got to use it with Dabo at some point. The problem is it just isn't a game where Clemson needs to bring hell on anybody. The Georgia game. I think we did that for Clemson, in fact, at some point leading up to the Georgia game. So we'll use it again at some point. All right, time to get some professional help. You've been dealing with the amateurs. Now we turn our attention to the pros. We welcome in from Paramount Sports once again here on Sports Talk, our good buddy with his Sterling picks. He is Lee Sterling. Good evening, Lee. How are you?
I'm good. Let's see if we can get back on track.
Yes. Tell folks how they can get all your information as we head into the weekend.
Just go to my website, ParamountSports.com. Going to have a big 40-unit max wager play in college football. And 2 UFC 50-unit max wagers. Never had that ever in the history of our UFC picks for the last 3 years. So it's all up and available, ParamountSports.com.
All right, let's begin. You got Alabama laying 15 down in the Swamp.
I think Alabama is ripe. I don't know for an upset, but for a close game here. Anthony Richardson, quarterback for Florida, if he's healthy, is a gazelle, averaging 25 yards per carry. Defensive coordinator Todd Grantham, think he's going to dial up some different looks and variety of blitzes here. And Bama won last year when they were a 2-touchdown favorite in the SEC title game by only 6 points. 15 points in the Swamp. They haven't played Alabama there in 10 years. This game goes to the wire. Bama escapes 35-31, but I'm riding Florida here.
Oh, you're going to take those points, and who do you think stars at quarterback for Florida as this thing plays out?
I think it's Richardson. He's head and shoulders above Jones.
Yeah, hard to believe because Emory Jones was such a highly recruited, highly touted kid when they got him. All right, let's go to Georgia, South Carolina. Gamecocks, you got them getting 31.
Yeah. So South Carolina head coach Shane Beamer. I don't know what kind of talent he's got. It's nothing special, but he at least has the faithful excited here. It might be both quarterbacks. He might, change it up here. And the key is just don't make mistakes here. But I think Georgia is the better team, but 31, 32 points too much. Georgia wins 41-16, but South Carolina covers.
Yep. I'm riding that boat with you. Clemson laying 28 against a wrecked, rambling wreck.
Dabo slaughtered the Yellow Jackets last year, 73-7. Jeff Sims or freshman Jordan Yates, take your pick. It's going to be a long, frustrating afternoon. Tech faced a poor Kennesaw State option last week. This is a different animal here. And Jeff Collins just 8-17 against the spread. First 25 games at Georgia Tech here. Clemson 52-14.
Yeah, I see that. Penn State Auburn is your game of the week. Folks can get that at ParamountSports.com.
Just go to ParamountSports.com or give me a call, 800-400-9741.
As always, my friend, thank you. Good luck to you. Good luck to us. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Phil.
Top of the hour break here on Sports Talk. David Shelton coming up.
Before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. Access and travel rules are influencing missionary vaccine policies.
COVID-19 vaccine refusal rates may be high among white evangelical Christians, but the International Mission Board, which deploys thousands of missionaries, is not hesitant about the shot. The IMB is the global missionary agency of the Southern Baptist Convention. It announced this month that it's requiring vaccinations for missionaries they're sending into the field amid the pandemic. Other faith groups are approaching the issue in a variety of ways. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is giving unvaccinated missionaries assignments in their home countries. The United Methodist Church strongly encourages missionaries to get vaccinated, but does not require it. I'm Walter Ratliff.
U.S. Capitol Police are warning of some threats of violence at a rally planned for Saturday, in which demonstrators plan to express their support for defendants arrested and charged in the January 6th riot. U.S. Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger says authorities are ready for whatever may happen.
We are planning for a safe event tomorrow. But there have been some threats of violence associated with the events for tomorrow, and we have a strong plan in place to ensure that it remains peaceful and that if violence does occur, that we can stop it as quickly as possible.
France says it is immediately recalling its ambassadors to the U.S. and Australia after Australia scrapped a big French conventional submarine purchase in favor of nuclear subs built with U.S. technology. It was the first time ever France has recalled its ambassador to the U.S., according to the French Foreign Ministry. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 166 points, the Nasdaq dropped 137, the S&P 500 lower by 40. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Right now, people are home with their pets more often, and I think especially with the shedding, they're more cognizant of what's going on and that it's an actual issue.
Olive got some skin issues. He gets really going and scratching.
Excessive shedding, a lot of just scratching and itching.
Jigging, scratching, and itching, and biting. On top of that, he was starting to get black buildup in his ears.
DINOVITE.com.
I just heard the Dynavite commercial so many times that I said, you know what, I'll give it a shot. And I ordered it and tried it, and it worked.
We started Dynavite, and in our first stock, we noticed a difference, especially with the shedding.
Within 3 weeks, he's not scratching and itching, and he's an all-around happier dog.
We've got 4 dogs, all different ages, all different sizes, and they've all just responded really well to the Dynavite, and they all love it.
We will be using Dynavite for life.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
We order our Dynavite from Dynavite.com. DINOVITE.com.
23 GOP attorneys general threatened to sue President Biden over what they call his disastrous COVID vaccine mandate. Reporter Bernie Bennett has more.
The GOP prosecutors chastised Mr. Biden for the proposed measure, which would see a federal vaccine requirement imposed for private sector employees, healthcare workers, and federal contractors. The requirement, announced earlier this month, is being enacted through a rule from the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, as part of an effort to inoculate Americans from the more deadly Delta variant. The prosecutors, led by Attorney General Alan Wilson of South Carolina, wrote in a letter sent to the president, quote, "If your administration does not alter its course, the undersigned state attorneys general will seek every available legal option to hold you accountable and uphold the rule of law." Bernie Bennett reporting.
Jane Powell, the bright-eyed star of Hollywood's Golden Age musicals, who sang with Howard Keel in Seven Brides for Seven Brothers and danced with Fred Astaire in Royal Wedding, has died. She was 92. More at townhall.com.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's your weekend forecast, muggy overnight with a low temp dropping to 70 degrees. For tomorrow, we'll get some afternoon rain and have a high of 87. Sunday isn't any better with mostly cloudy skies, a 40% chance of showers and a high of 85. We have at least a 40% chance of rain every day through Thursday of next week. Have a safe weekend. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather. WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. Please press button now. No, number 1.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Sports Talk Media Network here on a Founders Federal Football Friday night. Been talking a lot of football here on Sports Talk, and we're going to talk more football. And, of course, tonight at 10:05, all across the state of South Carolina, the high school football scoreboard. Every score that can be reported, we'll have it for you from the coast to the mountains and every spot in between. We got plenty of high school football tonight. Don't you worry. Yep, a bunch of cancellations as well, but plenty of games to talk about as we welcome in the man we call Bib for Best in Business. He is David Shelton of the Charleston Post and Courier and the High School Sports Report. David, good to have you with us. How are you?
Good to be had. I'm doing good.
It's good to have you, and it's good to be had. I like that. Where are you tonight? Where are you setting up camp?
I am at Hanahan for tonight's game against Philip Simmons, who off to a 4-0 start, best start in school history, ranked 8th in the state in AA. And this is their toughest opponent. Hanahan will be the toughest team they played to date, but we're going to see if it's all for real tonight.
Yeah, look, Philip Simmons has only been around about, 4 years, maybe?
5 years, yeah. 5
years. And tell us about their coaching staff, head coach, and what he's put together there.
Well, the head coach is Eric Bendig, who was for a while was an assistant at Wando. He's a low country guy. He's really done a nice job of putting the staff together, a group of young, energetic coaches. They kind of struggled, but they've progressively gotten a little better each year. Last year, they made the playoffs because they beat Timberland, which was clearly the biggest win in their school's history, beating Timberland. But tonight would be a huge win. If they beat Hanahan tonight, Hanahan's 1-1, but they're a good 3A program and a good 3A team. And this would definitely be a challenge to step up in competition. And I would say that if they were to win tonight, it would be bigger than beating Timberland last year, because getting to 5-0, even though it's not a region game or anything like that, but just building the confidence as you go into region, this would be a huge win.
All right, let's talk about some of the other top games around the state tonight. As we hope the weather is going to be okay. There's some storms, of course, moving across the state, and hopefully everything will be okay. Of course, last night Lower Richland beat Chester 27-20, and Keenan and Fairfield Central, they hooked up in a 5 overtimer. Keenan won that thing. I think it was 66-65, something like that. Real crazy. What stands out tonight in your mind about some of the top games?
I think two games that have my interest are South Point and South Florence. And in previous years, you would never say that was a big game, but South Florence is off to an undefeated start. They've got a great quarterback. They're scoring a lot of points. And, South Point is South Point. They're undefeated. Both these teams are ranked in 4A in the top 10, so it's going to be a real good test for both teams. South Point's defense will get tested by Sellers. And South Florence, they've won every game so far impressively, but clearly this is the best team they played. I know a lot of people aren't looking at this game as a big game, but it is a big game. And for South Florence, this is a real proving ground. And then you got Burns Gaffney. What can you say? I mean, I know Burns is 2-2 and gave up 64 points last week. Gaffney's undefeated, but Gaffney Burns is Gaffney Burns. It's going to be a sellout crowd, a knockdown, drag out, and Burns will get really tested because this Gaffney team is every bit as good as any they've ever had. Certainly capable of winning the state title, so that'll be a huge game.
All right, I should have checked scfootballstats.com more closely before I opened my mouth. Fairfield Central won that game 67-66, so I was wrong on the score and the winner. So the Griffins come away with that win, 67-66. But what a game that was last night. How about, this would be an interesting game to go to if you just want to see some talent. Rabun County, with that outstanding quarterback who's going to Georgia, originally committed to South Carolina, is coming over to play Saluda tonight. Now, Saluda is going to really see some kind of an offense that's old J-Bo Shaw, Connor Shaw's brother, is the head coach over there at Rabun County.
Yeah, that will be an interesting game, and like you said, there'll be some obviously with Stockton there. That's a high profile player. Saluda's undefeated and really thinks that they are capable of winning a state championship in 2A. This will be a tremendous challenge, but I tell you, the Tigers are pretty good. I don't know what the outcome will be. I haven't scouted Rabun County, but I'm sure they're great. But Saluda will give them a battle. That's a big game for both schools.
All right. Dutch Fork is back in action tonight. Going to play at Greenwood. Now, Greenwood's a pretty good club, and Dutch Fork is Dutch Fork. What do you think here? Maybe the Eagles at home might be able to generate a little something, at least make Dutch Fork sweat into the fourth quarter?
I think they can. I think they can make them sweat in the fourth quarter. I don't know much about Greenwood's offense, but I know their defense gets after you pretty good. Now, Dutch Fork's offense is really explosive, very balanced, and great running back in Jarvis Green. Dutch Fork has made a living out of jumping on people early and then just coasting. If Greenwood can hang in this game through the half, have a chance in the third and fourth quarter. I think they've got a shot to make this close. I don't think they'll win, but Greenwood's a good team, so that'll be a very good test for Dutch Fork.
Today it was announced that next week Gray Collegiate is going to go up to Gaffney. So we talk about these really good 2A teams like an Abbeville, like a Gray Collegiate stepping up. Maybe they're biting off a little more than they can chew going up to Gaffney, but that could be an interesting little matchup there. If they get KZ Adams running wide open and doing some things, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I got to give a lot of credit to Adam Holmes at Gray and Dan Jones at Gaffney. They literally will play anybody at any week. They will play anybody. I mean, Dutch Fork was going to play at Gaffney. That game got canceled because of the death of that player. But Gray Collegiate, there was rumors they were going to play this team or that team. And lo and behold, they called Gaffney, and Gaffney said, sure, come on up. So, I don't know if they can beat Gaffney, but I give them a lot of credit for scheduling these type of games. Gray's played a very good schedule. They've beaten Camden. They've beaten Oceanside Collegiate. They beat Ridgeview. So, I mean, they may be biting off more than they can chew, but they're not scared, and I like that.
Our buddy down in Charleston, Scott Eisberg, put out a tweet this morning where he said Jerry Brown over at Berkeley was trying to get a game and was willing to take on an opponent tonight, sight unseen, just get him an opponent. He'd get in the bus and they'd go there. Was he able to be successful with that?
I don't think so. They're not playing Somerville? I had not heard that.
Well, I'm just telling you the tweet that I saw this morning.
Huh. Maybe next week?
Double check behind me. I thought he said.
Yeah, I think maybe next week they're looking for an opponent because they were supposed to play Sumter, and that's not going to happen. But unless I mean, I've been around all day. I don't know how I would have missed that. And all over Twitter, Somerville's advertising tickets for tonight's game, so I hadn't heard that game's been canceled. So that might have been for next week.
All right, let me. I'll look for my tweet on that while we talk about this. The announcement came out last night from the Shrine Bowl folks that they're not going to have the Shrine Bowl again this year. Second straight year. Scott Early with the Touchstone Energy North-South game says they are moving forward. No plans on canceling their game at this point. What was your reaction when you heard the Shrine Bowl news?
I was very surprised. Not that they canceled, but they did it so soon. September 17th is a long ways from December the whatever it is, 21st, or whenever they're supposed to play. And a lot of things can get better. I think they jumped the gun a little bit. If they play this entire football season and on through the state championship, I really don't know why you can't, with increased vaccinations and hopefully with the curve of the spread, the positives, I really think you can play in December. And it would not surprise me if somebody didn't throw together another senior all-star game, to try to play in December, in addition to the North-South game, because that's a real blow. So Jerry Brown's been the coach for the last 2 years and hadn't been able to coach in the game yet. So, maybe Jerry Brown's looking for an opponent in the Shrine Bowl because I know he wants to play that game.
I found the tweet. It's my mistake again. It was Marion Brown over at Baptist Hill.
Oh boy.
He said he was feverishly calling every 1A and 2A school he can find around the state to try and find a game for tonight. Yeah. He says he has the buses.
I knew they were looking for a game.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, if Jerry Brown's looking for a game tonight, you might want to call Somerville because I think they're on the field warming up.
Well, that was I read that with a groggy eyesight, and I guess I just saw Brown and thought, oh, Dr. Jerry's looking for a game. So, well, one thing, going back to the All-Star deal, this is a golden opportunity, of course, for the North-South to scoop up, the cream of the crop and have all the players at their disposal. And, you will have you'll have a high-level All-Star game in Myrtle Beach with the guys who ordinarily would be playing in the Shrine Bowl. Now playing in this game. I don't think they're going to expand the rosters. I don't think so. And I don't think they plan on having a kind of a JV game or anything like that. So it will, of course, it will cost some players around the state the opportunity to play in an all-star game who otherwise might have been in Myrtle Beach because there would have been space for them. Now there won't be that space.
Yeah, and I think that's why I think I would be not surprised if another all-star game didn't crop up here in the next 2 months. Because it does hurt a lot of athletes that would have an opportunity to play in an all-star game. I mean, you're looking at 44 Shrine Bowl and 88 North-South. So you're basically cutting out 44 guys of an all-star opportunity. And I would not be surprised if some enterprising guy, coach group, somebody didn't try to put together an all-star game to help get more kids involved. Because I really think the Shrine Bowl may have jumped the gun on this one. And it almost, to me, felt like they just didn't want to deal with it. It was too much of a hassle. And they just decided to cancel it because I don't know why. I mean, the rosters haven't even been picked, and they keep talking about, well, they're going to let them pick the rosters and honor the kids. Well, they don't want to see their name on a piece of paper. They want to be on the field playing.
Right.
And, so obviously that's a disappointment to them.
Now you wonder if there's some financial reason involved here too, with not having a game last year, and let's face it, funding is down. I'm sure fundraising is hard to do during the 2 years of the pandemic. Maybe financially speaking, they're not in a position to put a game on this year. This was a way out for them.
Yeah, I mean, I wish if they would say that, I could certainly understand it. But they really didn't give a reason other than COVID. But, like I said, they're playing games every Friday night, and they're going to try to play through the playoffs. Now, granted, if something were to happen in the next month where everything got shut down, then I could say, okay, cancel the game. But, again, it's September 17th. It's 3 full months before you play the game, and I just think that was too early.
All right, give us an upset of the night. What's the one where we're going to go, oh, my?
You know what? If I had to pick, I would say South Florence is going to beat South Point. And a lot of people say, well, South Florence is undefeated. How could they be an upset? But we're talking about a South Florence program that has been really down for the last several years. So this would be, to beat South Point, which is one of the top 5 or 6 programs in all of South Carolina. I think that would be an upset. And if they get to 4-0, I think you got to really start looking at them as a serious contender.
All right, we'll see how that plays out. And all the others, Berkeley and Somerville definitely on. Nobody's looking for a late replacement there, and I guess maybe Baptist Hill is still looking. So, sorry, I got that one out of order there. But we'll have it straight tonight for the high school scoreboard, David, at 10:05. Look forward to having you with us, and enjoy your game tonight.
Sounds good, man. Take care.
Thank you very much. David Shelton with us tonight. Best in business, knows all, tells all, shares all about high school football in South Carolina. And don't forget the scoreboard tonight at 10:05. Looking forward to bringing that to you live from Columbia and across the state of South Carolina as we bring you all the scores, and we'll have reports from folks who've been at games tonight and grab a happy coach or two along the way. I got a feeling we'll see what happens with Westside and Hart County. If Scott Early gets a win tonight over Hart County, might get him on to not just talk about his team's win, but to talk about moving forward with the All-Star game. All right, after the break, time to check in on the NASCAR scene. It's Bristol weekend, Bristol night race, the fall race at Bristol, always a ton of fun. Jeff Owens will join us to break it all down. The playoffs go to their first cutoff race tomorrow night at Bristol. Should be a dandy. Talk about that after the break here on Sports Talk.
Save like a pro with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders Loyalty Select account gives you the opportunity to grow your savings at our best rate yet. Fund your account through your favorite Loyalty Select product to get savings today. Not a member yet? Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at ExperienceColumbiaSC.com.
Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdheck.gov/vaxfax.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. People often ask me, when should I start saving for college? And I always tell them, start today. September is College Savings Month, a great time to start saving for your child's education. Future Scholar makes it easy to open and manage your account online, and the plan offers options and benefits you won't find with a regular savings or investment account. So make this the month you go to FutureScholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. FutureScholar.com.
Love it when it's far wide, love it when it's fast, love it when the leaders talk, the pack is moving past. Love it when they're making lots and lots of noise. Can't wait to hear these W's say, boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys. Love it when they're drafting, love it when they slide, love it when the back's straight, the throttle's open wide. Love it when they're making lots and lots of noise. Can't wait to hear these W's say, boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys. Let's go racing, boys.
Let's go racing, boys. Jeff, I can't hear you. Let's go racing, boys. All right. It's time to talk Bristol. Always fun to talk Bristol in the playoffs. It's the cutoff race, the first cutoff race, the first transition race, however you want to term it. Should be a wild night, Jeff Owens in Bristol tomorrow night. I know the NASCAR fans been waiting for this one for a long time.
Yeah, this is a big one. Phil, the night race at Bristol has always been one of the biggest events on the circuit. They used to sell that place out, and it's a race that fans anticipate every year. And now it's got even added drama to it by being not only a playoff race, but a playoff elimination race. So this is a big event on a great track. There's going to be a lot of drama tomorrow night and a lot of pressure A lot of pressure on a lot of these 16 playoff drivers. 4 of them are going to be eliminated. There's a lot of them really fighting for their lives right now. So this is going to have a lot of drama to it. It's going to be exciting, and I think it's going to be a great race.
So, what'd you think of last week and how things are shaping up here in the standings and down towards the bottom, where the pressure's really going to be on those drivers trying to make the cut and get into the next round?
Yeah. Richmond was a little bit uneventful, really. I mean, it wasn't the excitement that we saw. There wasn't a lot of caution flags. The field got a little bit strung out in terms of the leader. We saw Denny Hamlin dominate much of the race, and then not caution flags, but pit stops and pit strategy played into it, and Martin Truex Jr. comes away with the win. I guess the big story there, and the only real drama in that race was, Chase Elliott had trouble early. He was a contender up there, and he has a bad pit stop, gets in a little wreck, and he winds up losing a lap. But he comes fighting back and finishes 4th, and that may be a moment that we look back on in these playoffs, because he's the defending champion. He got hot last year and won it. He could certainly do it again, but that was the kind of playoff performance you need. And we're going to see that tomorrow night at Bristol too. I think there's guys who are going to have some trouble. They may fall a lap down, but you've got to be able to battle back from that and salvage a good finish and maintain your place in the standings. But we got some guys that are on the bubble right now. Kurt Busch is probably your biggest name. He's got to come away with a good finish to keep from getting eliminated. But fortunately for him, he's going to probably his best track, so that should help him. But there's going to be pressure every single week, and this week is one of your big ones in terms of guys having to really step up in the moment and get it done to continue on in the playoffs.
Yeah, right now, Bowman, Reddick, Byron, McDowell, those are the 4 on the outside looking in. Kurt Busch is the one that's on the cut line, and he and Bowman are actually tied, I guess, in terms of points. But I think Busch has some extra points, I guess, from the season or whatever, that puts him in that 12 spot right now.
He owns a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
I think it's because he had the best finish last week, I believe, or in the first 2 races so far.
Yeah. If you can, you got to have a PhD in some kind of mathematical studies to be able to figure out the NASCAR playoff accounting system, which is something, really, if you want the dyed in the wool NASCAR fan to really follow this stuff, they need to maybe explain it better or make it simpler to understand.
Yeah, and once they've changed this thing so many times, Phil, and it does get complicated. They simplified the point system so that if you finish first, you get so many points, and it makes it simpler to count it up. But they've added all these stage points and all these different things that it does make it very confusing. And once you finally figure it out, they change it again, and you have to start all over. So, that's one thing I think. I applaud NASCAR for making these moves to try to make the racing more competitive and to make their championship more competitive. But you're right. It is very confusing. And unless you're a diehard fan, and even they can't figure it out sometimes. I see questions on Twitter all the time where they're confused about the points and that kind of stuff. So it is very complicated, and they do need to simplify it in some manner, I think.
All right. What'd you think of the 22 schedule released? Good news is, of course, Darlington going to have a full schedule of races again in 22. So good for them. Congrats to Kerry Tharp and their people for continuing to show NASCAR how valuable they are. What do you think of the layout of the schedule overall?
Yeah, there's a couple of big ones that is just real eye-opening. Clearly, what NASCAR is trying to do is they're trying to generate more interest and more excitement with this schedule, and they are continuing to shake things up a little bit. We're going to another new track this next year, somewhat of a new track. They're going to race at this track in St. Louis. I can't recall the name of it. It's changed. It used to be Gateway International Speedway, but they've attached a rights deal to it now, so I'm not sure what it's called. But it's a speedway there in St. Louis, so they're looking at going to a bigger market to try to draw in more fans and get more attention. The one that blows my mind is the opener, the Clash. It's not a points race. It's going to be the season opening exhibition, but they are taking it away from Daytona, and they are going to run it inside the LA Coliseum in Los Angeles. They are going to build a track inside on the football field in the LA Coliseum. It's going to be a short track, and they're going to run it there. And that one just sort of blows my mind. Again, they're chasing the big markets, and probably good for the sport, but that one doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
All right, my friend, you have a great weekend. Thanks for the visit. We'll catch you next week. Jeff Owens in the Fast Lane here on Sports Talk. Be back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's your weekend forecast, muggy overnight with a low temp dropping to 70 degrees. For tomorrow, we'll get some afternoon rain and have a high of 87. Sunday isn't any better with mostly cloudy skies, a 40% chance of showers and a high of 85. We have at least a 40% chance of rain every day through Thursday of next week. Have a safe weekend. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters. China has applied to join an 11-nation Asia-Pacific Free Trade Group in an effort to increase its influence over international policies. The Commerce Ministry said Beijing submitted an application to New Zealand, which acts as a representative of the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. The CPTPP previously was known as the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It was promoted by then-President Barack Obama as part of Washington's increased emphasis on relations with Asia. Mr. Obama's successor, Donald Trump, pulled out of the group in 2017. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 166 points. The Nasdaq dropped 137. The S&P lower by 40. And oil down to $71.97 a barrel. This is SRN News.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Now, who could that be?
It's Dominion Energy. I signed us up for a home energy checkup. It's time we learn how to save energy and money.
Well, how much does it cost?
Not a dime. It's free, and it only takes about an hour. Plus, we get a report on things we can do to make our home more energy efficient.
I don't know. Sounds too good to be true.
No. See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Hi, this is Michelle Arnold, your host for Travel Buzz, every Monday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on 100.7 The Point. We're here to make your travel dreams a reality. That's Travel Buzz every Monday morning at 9 on The Point.
Hi, honey. Were you able to drop by True Pharmacy today to pick up Mom's medications?
Yes, she sure is on a lot of meds.
I know. That's why I go over so often, to help make sure she's taking them correctly.
Well, I have great news. The pharmacist at True Pharmacy said he can pre-pack her medications into individual doses.
Wow. Knowing she's taking the right meds at the right time will give me great peace of mind. But how much does it cost?
That's the even better part. It's free. Just another great service they offer at True Pharmacy. True Pharmacy, 2 locations, Charleston Highway in West Columbia and Devine Street downtown.
Hello, fondue fans. It's Jay from the Melting Pot.
Well, you don't have to be a fondue fan to be a fan of the melting pot, but it sure helps. By the way, who eats melted cheese when it's 106 degrees outside anyway? And thank you for eating melted cheese and warm chocolate, by the way. The reality is special occasions don't end when it's summertime. Birthdays, anniversaries, end of summer, back to school celebrations, you name it. We celebrate it with you. So come and see us at 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard, the melting pot.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
Someone will be right with you.
4. Straight down the middle. It went straight down the middle. Then it started to hook just a wee bit. And that's when my caddy lost sight of it.
That little white ball is in the woods or in the water. Only if I hit it. If George Bryan III hits it, it's right down the middle, probably about 275, sitting up on a nice plush piece of Bermuda, ready to be struck to the green for a birdie attempt of about 25 feet. George, how are you?
Oh, good to be better. I like them closer than that, though. My goodness.
Hey, man, don't get greedy on me now. 25 feet for birdie is – do you know what I would give for 25 feet for a birdie putt?
What would you give, Phil? What would you give?
I'd give a lot, to be quite honest with you. I'd give a lot. Anyway, before we jump into the PGA stuff, because they've restarted the tour, which never ends, the tour that never ends. Of course, we've got the Ryder Cup next week. That'll be a lot of fun. Came out this afternoon that the South Carolina women are ranked number 1 in the country in the latest golf ranking. They got a win, of course, earlier this week. So the Women's Golf Coaches Association ranked the Gamecocks number 1. They jumped up 10 spots. Duke, Oklahoma State, Wake Forest, and Stanford behind them. And looking to see, Clemson's got a good team too. Looking to see if they're in there, anybody else. No, that's it for the top 25. So how about that? They were really good last year. Looks like they're going to be really good again this year.
And I tell you, they do play close. I know they play close in the spring, and it is something very special to watch these Lady Gamecocks and all the women in college golf. In the last 5 years, much has changed, and it's I'm always entertained to watch college golf. And whether it be the men or the women, our golf teams in the state are some of the strongest in the country, and they're local, and the price is right. So strongly recommend getting out. And then, one of the things that's interesting about women and men's golf, so they're ranked number 1 now, and I was sorry about that. I whiffed on getting Coach on the program. Once again, I'm willing to try and re-tee next week, and so we'll take a swing at that. But they don't play the big tournament until May, and actually it might even be as late as June. I don't think so. Didn't look at the schedule, but so it's September. Unlike the other sports, their national championship, conference and national, they're still 8 months away. Mm-hmm. So one of the questions I can't wait to ask her is, what do you do with those expectations? And when you're already number 1, where do you go from here? And how do you get, what's the strategy for the whole year?
Well, they won that.
Basketball, football.
They won the Annika Intercollegiate up in Minnesota. That's a pretty prestigious college golf tournament for the women. They beat Duke by 7 shots. Wake Forest was 3rd. And, they've got some new names. They lost their top two players from last year, I do believe, and now a youngster, Hannah Darling. She shot 11 under par. Looks like she's emerging as maybe their best player this year. I don't know much about them at this point in time. And, of course, we'll focus more in the spring as they do. That's when they play for their NCAA championship stuff. But it sounds like they put together, Kaylin Anderson and company there, they put together another really good roster that can be among the best in the country.
Well, and it's pretty cool that Duke, they're battling out with Duke. They also finished ahead of not just Wake Forest, but Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take Alabama, Wake Forest, Duke, and South Carolina, these teams have all been neck and neck and battling for the last couple of years. And Coach Anderson spent time at Duke. It was pretty neat to walk around the last event. Well, not the last event of spring, but last spring I walked around a little bit with the Duke coach, Coach Dan, and he's a Hall of Famer. And it was interesting watching the two different coaching styles. And like I said, the players, they hit it long. Their competitive spirit is right on the edge. It's just fun to watch. And, hey, there's no question that they'll be right. Gamecocks will be in there later in the year. But like I said, they've got a long time. 8 months is a long time before you get to the competition season. Now, what they do play in some awesome events in the fall. They probably, 3 or 4, not sure, didn't look at the schedule, but they'll play 3, 4, 5 events in the fall.
Yeah, they'll play again in October, like mid-October is their next tournament. Let's talk about the Clemson men. They also played this week. They didn't win their tournament out in Scottsdale, Arizona, but they had a heck of a tournament, 3-day score of 43 under par. Georgia Tech beat them by a shot. This was the first official tournament with Jordan Byrd as the head coach. I guess, though, really nothing's changed at all in that program in the transition from Larry Penley to Jordan Byrd, since he was the longtime assistant and had a lot to do with their success over the last several years.
Yeah, Jordan is, like I said, we've talked about it before. I predict wonderful things. He's a very special player, person, and coaching leader. So I'm guessing they'll carry that tradition, and they will win much under Coach Byrd. So, quite frankly, I looked at him as the head coach for quite a while anyway.
How about Jacob Bridgman, George, in the second round, a 62, 6 birdies on the back 9, 4 in his last 5 holes. That dude's been really, really good. He's on the Haskins Award watch list, so obviously one of the better players in the country.
It was fun listening to Coach Penley talk about him as he did at the end of last season. So, like I said, we've got the best collegiate athletes, some of the best in the whole country right here. And when you compare them to even world class, I mean, they are, neck and neck with even the professionals. So, and they, at this point, it's easy access. So look at the calendar, look at the schedule, and go watch. But like I said, the ticket's free. Just got to call the club in advance. Make sure that's a fact. It could change. You never can tell with all these new rules. And it'll be fun getting Coach Anderson, one of the other coaches. Let's take a swing at getting Coach Byrd on the show as well.
Sure.
And then Phil, I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I was at the Players Club yesterday, and you know what it was doing? It was raining. So
yeah.
The Players Club was it was packed. It was dry though. And my go-to is yesterday it was a putting green. Jeff Pinkney, a good buddy of mine from Fripp Island, he drove up to Columbia and he took a look at the putting studio, and we had a good time. Not only did we spend a little time on that putting green, but we also had a great meal at the Players Club. It was packed yesterday, so I do want to remind on rainy days, especially this time of year, you better go ahead and get your tea time. Because you will wait in line on these kind of days. So,
was there a particular course? Was there a particular course folks wanted to play? Where they wanted to play maybe? Let's say they're playing. Is it Whistling Straits Is that where they're playing the Ryder Cup?
That is, and you know, I love, and I have not played whistling on the machines, the simulators there at the Players Club, and quite frankly, not sure they have it. My go-tos are always the same: Pebble and Harbor Town. I like doing the same thing over and over. I like playing those courses. I can't get enough of them. But now let's shift gears and talk about Whistling Straits. I think the Europeans, they're always one of the favorites, and they have for the last 30 years. Part of the reason is they just play great team golf, and Whistling Straits plays right into their wheelhouse with that seaside ocean links that you find in Great Britain, Scotland, and Ireland. So the Whistling Straits is just about identical. I played it, had the privilege of playing it a couple of times or several times, and it's in my mind, course advantage Europe. However, home field advantage goes to USA, and it will be fun to watch it unfold.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Meantime, the first PGA tournament of the new season being played out in, is it Napa, California? Yeah, up in the wine country there. A lot of whining going on the golf course. Maverick McNeely, 12 under. Bo Hostler is 10 under. And Mito Pereira, not familiar with him. He also is 10 under. As far as some of the more local names or others that we follow, Phil Mickelson is on the course at 5 under. Matthew Neesmith is 68. He's 3 under. Doc Redman, a 71, is 2 under. Bill Haas is 2 under. Still on the course. William McGirt, 1 under, 72. Kyle Stanley is on the course, -1. Jonathan Bird is -1, still on the course. Ben Martin is even. He's still playing. John Rahm is even on the course. Scott Brown is even. He's still playing his second round. DJ Trahan is in with a 70 at +4. So, again, this restructured schedule for the PGA, it's like the season never ends, but it's a chance for some folks to go win some money, win an event, help their status, help them get into the Masters. And all. I mean, this all counts, George, right? This is real PGA golf, as you can tell by some of the names in here.
Oh, absolutely. In the early season, that's the chance for the younger players, the ones just graduating from the Korn Ferry, to get out and establish themselves. And I did look at the cut number, and it's like always, it is stout. It's and a couple of names you just mentioned, local. Unless they get to 3 under, they will not be playing on the weekend. Mm-hmm. So Doc Redman's on the wrong side. I think you mentioned Jay Bird. There is who else did you mention? Bill High. He's on the wrong side of the cut.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you mentioned DJ. Trahan's on McGirt's on the wrong side of the. I'm glad to see him healthy and playing again. He's a fine young man from Spartanburg. So
do we have any
on the wrong side of the cut?
Speaking of getting healthy, do we have any update on Wesley and his potential return?
I think he's about ready to hit full driver now. So once he gets to the full drive, letting it go, and he could have already done it. I didn't check in today. I checked, but I'm checking on grand youngins. I check on the babies. Now he's gonna be fine, and I don't think he'll come back on the PGA Tour until, and I could be wrong, until late October to November, if then. And so that's about all I know at this point. He's got to wait till he gets comfortable with that all-out driver, but I think he'll be fine, Phil.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Okay, George, you ready to play through?
Yes, sir. And until next week, Tim high but shoot 'em low. Have a great weekend. And thank goodness for football season. The golf course is ours.
You enjoy. All right. Thank you, George. Look out for the lightning and the thunder and the heavy rain out there as well. George Bryan III with us here on Sports Talk, brought to you by the Players Club in downtown Columbia. And boy, he wasn't kidding. Players Club is a great, great place. Glad to know that they're packed in there, doing a great business. But it's not just playing that simulated golf or going in there and practicing your putting. They've got great restaurants, and they've got bars all over, and they've got restaurants across the street. That whole little section of North Main Street in downtown Columbia being taken over by those folks that own the Players Club and those other businesses. Venture on down there. You will love it. You will not be disappointed. Maybe you're not a golfer. They have a bowling alley across the street with a restaurant built into that. They're building a barbecue place as well. Got all kind of great stuff coming up related to the Players Club and surrounding restaurants, so make sure you check it out. All right, going to hit the break here on Sports Talk. We will get to the recruiting report. Got to save the best for last. Recruiting report, and we'll update some football scores for you. Got some college football going on tonight as well. Check on some baseball, too. A quick around the horn segment. We'll update the baseball. Braves are on the West Coast now after getting washed out yesterday. Got all that coming your way right here on Sports Talk.
Hey, folks, mortgage rates have dipped to their lowest levels in recent history. And with home values up in many areas, now may be the perfect time to refinance your home. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, free up cash for home improvements, or just pay off your home faster, a quick call to the one and only Stuart Wingo of Ameris Bank could save you money. If you're looking for competitive rates and exceptional service, call Stuart Wingo, 803-319-1777. That's 803-319-1777. You will save money just like I have so many times over the years. You can also visit him, amerisbank.com/Stuart Wingo. Stuart Wingo, the man with the plan for all your mortgage needs.
The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Play or practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit MainCourseSC.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia.
We understand how important it is to have transportation you can rely on. So no matter what the road ahead brings, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, covering Lawrence, Clinton, Joanna, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdheck.gov/vaxfax.
Time for the recruiting report here on Sports Talk. Always brought to you by Seawells. Man, I hope you got a chance to get over to Seawells this week for the delicious lunch buffet. Today was Roast Beef Friday. They'll have it for you once again next week, Monday through Friday, 11 to 2. It really is an excellent lunch buffet. Very well done. A lot of spacing, big tables, great food, excellent price. You cannot go wrong. 1125 Rosewood Drive, the location. And if you need the very best in the catering business for maybe a wedding reception, they still have those, a birthday party, corporate outing, maybe it's an awards banquet, maybe it's just a business luncheon. Well, just give the folks at Seawells a call. They've been doing the very best in the catering business for more than 70 years. That number, 803-771-7385. Be sure to let Seawells help make your event a memorable experience. A little bit of recruiting here from Frank Martin. He did get back to us. He apologized for not being able to be with us as scheduled. He's got a recruit in for an official visit, family in for an official visit. Obviously, that takes precedent to anything else. As we have reported here, actually, John Whittle, Big Spur, reported, and we mentioned it here. I believe that recruit would be Josh Reed, the 6'6" forward from Pace Academy in Atlanta. Really good player. Guy South Carolina's been on pretty hard. He's also visited to this point Liberty, Rice, and Northwestern officially, and then USC this weekend. Georgia Tech he's been to unofficially, and also to Georgia. He had named USC, Boston College, Northwestern, Butler, and Cincinnati as his top 5 a little way back. So we'll see what happens coming out of his visit to South Carolina this weekend. Meantime, 6'8" Chauncey Wiggins of Loganville, Georgia, made an official to Clemson last weekend. and they like him as a Hunter Tyson type of player, a versatile 6'8" guy, put the ball on the floor, rebound, get to the rim, shoot from the outside. He likes how they have developed Tyson in his time there. As he came in about 185 pounds, he's put on some good weight. So he likes what they have done with him. He loved everything he saw in terms of the campus and the academics. He went to the football game. He got a chance to watch him practice and liked the way that Brownell and the coaches handled the practice. And the things that really impressed him were off the court, like their graduation rate and the fact that players who leave and go do something else come back and can get their degree. That's very important to him. So he's also been to South Florida officially. This weekend, he's going to NC State. In 2 weeks, he'll visit Maryland, and then Georgia is the fifth school in the mix with him. He'll make a decision in October, and he'll sign in November. Last season, he averaged 12 points and 6 rebounds per game. He's a 3-star and ranked number 34 power forward nationally in the 24/7 sports composite. Another Clemson target in basketball, Justin Fernandez, announced today his commitment to George Mason. He's a guy that had Clemson on his shortened list. He's out of Virginia, and he is going to go to George Mason. In football, Clemson today offered 4-star defensive end Marvin Jones Jr., Plantation, Florida, another highly rated player, heavily recruited, another NFL legacy player. And so the Tigers have jumped in on him with an offer. Also, Clemson offered on Thursday 4-star offensive lineman Ernest Green, 6'5", 330, out of Bellflower, California, trying to get in on him. Number 2 inside offensive lineman nationally in his class. Recently named the top 10 of Texas A&M, Southern Cal, Alabama, Texas, Florida, Oregon, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Georgia, and LSU. He was at Ohio State last weekend officially. This weekend he plans to be at Georgia. He's got Texas October 16th. 2023 quarterback Arch Manning of New Orleans plans to visit Clemson for the Florida State game October 30th, according to Steve Wiltfong of 24/7 Sports. He'll be at Georgia this weekend. Maybe the Gamecocks will impress him enough that he'll want to visit South Carolina. Alabama October 2nd, Texas October 16th. He was also at Clemson in early June. 2023 linebacker Raylan Wilson of Tallahassee, who had Clemson and USC in his top 13, cut his list to a final 5 of Auburn, Georgia, Penn State, Michigan, Oregon. Clemson USC target, 23 running back Justin Haynes of Roswell, Georgia, offered by Southern Cal and Kentucky. 23 Spartanburg quarterback Raheem Jeter will be at Penn State tomorrow. Penn State and Auburn tomorrow up in Happy Valley. Going to have a whiteout up there. 23 safety Brandon Cece, or maybe Cisse, of Lakewood, offered by Georgia State. Basketball again, 6'6" Ryan Dunn, Freeport, New York, who had USC in his top 8. He's going to announce his commitment Saturday, tomorrow. So USC on the short list: Pitt, Oklahoma State, Maryland, Georgetown, Virginia, Minnesota, Boston College. USC offered 2025 point guard 6'4" Jerry Easter II of Toledo, 2025 class. Clemson was at Lexington High School last night to check in on 2024 6'4" Cam Scott, as is a bunch of people checking in on him. Okay, I think we've covered all the recruiting. One more here. USC target 2024 6'4" Kyle Green Jr. of Atlanta was offered by LSU. Oh, and another couple of things here. 2023 receiver Carnell Tate of IMG Academy in Chicago was offered by USC. He's a 4-star, ranked number 9 nationally in his class by 24/7 Sports. USC and Clemson target 2023 linebacker Troy Ford was offered by Tennessee. And USC target linebacker Deuce Spurlock out of Madison, Alabama, was offered by Vanderbilt. And with that, we bring to a close tonight's recruiting report. Remember to check out our recruiting all the time on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and on Twitter, use the hashtag STRecruiting. Okay, let's update some high school scores that are being tweeted. Dutch Fork, after 1, leading Greenwood 7-3. Myrtle Beach is leading its game 21-0. Not sure off the top of my head who they're playing, but they're up 21-0. Looks like North Myrtle Beach is running up and down the field on somebody. Ian Guerin tweets that the Beach is on pace to rush for about 400 yards in the game they're playing. Oh, but it's down 2 touchdowns. Huh. West Florence, let's see, I got to find some tweets that actually have both teams.
Hey, Corn, I can help you out a little bit. North Myrtle Beach actually just scored. They're losing to Hartsville. It is now 21-13, waiting on the extra point.
Thank you. West Florence leads Wilson 14-0. That's in the first quarter. So you said North Myrtle just scored. Okay, yeah, Hartsville was leading 21-6. That makes it 21-13. All right, that's good. And let's see. What else? Give me some more scores.
15.
Well, I tell you what. Hammond over Wilson Hall, 7-0. We will have the scores on the scoreboard tonight at 10:05. Thanks for being with us here on Sports Talk. We'll see you tonight on the scoreboard.
Local in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Columbia's local talk radio experience. 107 The Point. Make thepointradio.com. The Point.